The stagecoach dust had not even settled when Jonas Cole did the strangest thing anyone in Willow Bend had ever seen him do. He dropped to his knees, right there in the middle of Main Street, and pressed his ear flat against the dry, cracked ground. Men stopped walking. A woman at the general store window pulled back her curtain to stare. Big Tom, standing nearby with a sack of flour on his shoulder, nearly dropped it. "Jonas, what in the world are you doing?" Jonas did not answer right away. He stayed low, listening, his hat fallen off into the dirt beside him. Then he sat up, brushed off his knees, and grinned like a boy who had found a coin in the road. "Storm's coming," he said. "A big one, 2 days off, maybe 3. Someone in the small crowd laughed out loud. "You gone crazy, Cole. Sky's clear as glass." "My pa taught me this trick when I was a boy back in Missouri," Jonas said, standing tall now, dusting off his trousers. "Ground carries sound further than air does. You listen close enough, you can hear thunder rolling long before it ever reaches your ears the normal way." The blacksmith shook his head and went back to his hammer, muttering something about lonely ranchers losing their minds out on the open range. A few boys nearby snickered behind their hands. Big Tom just stood there, unsure whether to laugh with the others or believe his strange, quiet friend. But 3 days later, dark clouds rolled over the mountains exactly as Jonas had said, and rain hammered down on Willow Bend for a full night and day. After that, folks stopped laughing quite so easily at Jonas Cole. They still called him strange. They still whispered that a man so alone out on his ranch was bound to pick up odd habits nobody else understood. But underneath the whispers, something else had started. A quiet respect. The kind reserved for a man who saw things other men missed, and who did not care one bit what anybody thought of him for it. The letter arrived on a gray morning, and Jonas ripped it open right there at the post office counter, not even waiting to step outside. His face went pale, then his hands began to shake. "Jonas, what's wrong?" The postmaster leaned forward, alarmed. Jonas did not answer. He turned and ran, boots pounding hard against the wooden boardwalk, straight past Big Tom, who called after him and got no reply at all. He ran clear to the edge of town, to the old telegraph office, and burst through the door so hard it banged against the wall. "I need to send a wire," Jonas said, breathless. "Right now, today." The telegraph man blinked at him. "To where?" "Boston, fastest way you got." Word spread through Willow Bend by supper time, the way word always did in a small town. Something had happened. Something about the bride. Some said Eliza had changed her mind. Others whispered she had fallen ill. Big Tom rode straight to Jonas's ranch that evening and found his friend packing the porch, back and forth, wearing a path into the boards with his boots. "Tell me straight," Big Tom said. "What did that letter say?" Jonas stopped packing. His voice came out rough. "Her sisters took sick, bad sick. Eliza's asking if she should still come or stay behind and nurse her." "What you wire back?" Jonas looked out at the darkening plains, where the last orange light was sinking behind the far mountains. "I told her family comes first. Told her I'd wait as long as it takes, even if that's forever." Big Tom said nothing for a long moment. Then he clapped a rough hand on Jonas's shoulder. "That's a hard thing to send, friend. Harder than it sounds." "Wasn't hard," Jonas said quietly, "just true." For 11 days no reply came. Jonas worked his cattle in silence, ate alone in silence, sat on his porch each night in silence, Rusty pressed against his boots. The whole town watched him grow quieter, thinner, older-looking, waiting on an answer that might never arrive at all. Then, on the 12th day, the postmaster came running. The stagecoach door creaked open, and Jonas felt every eye in Willow Bend turn toward him instead of toward the bride. He did not step forward. He did not smile. He turned his back on the stagecoach entirely and walked straight to his horse. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Big Tom grabbed his arm. "Jonas, what are you doing? She's right there." I see her, Jonas said, low and steady, already reaching for his saddlebag. A young woman stood frozen on the platform, one gloved hand still gripping the stagecoach door, her face going white with hurt and confusion. Whispers broke out around the street. Someone muttered that the rancher had lost his nerve. Someone else said it was a cruel thing to do to a woman who had traveled so far. Jonas pulled a small wrapped bundle from his saddlebag and finally turned around. He walked past the staring townsfolk, past Big Tom's open mouth, straight to the woman on the platform. "Miss Turner," he said, "before anything else gets said between us, I need you to have this." He held out the bundle. Her hands trembled as she unwrapped it. Inside lay a stack of worn, soft papers tied with string. "My letters," she whispered, "every one I sent you." "Read till the paper near fell apart," Jonas said. "Wanted you to see that before you saw anything else. Wanted you to know the man standing here read every single word you sent, careful more than once. Whatever you think of my face or my ranch or this dusty town, I needed you to know that first." For a long moment, Eliza said nothing. Then her eyes filled and a small, trembling smile broke through. "I feared you might take one look at me and regret writing at all," she said softly. "Ma'am," Jonas said, his voice finally breaking with feeling, "I have never been more certain of anything in my whole life." The crowd, silent until now, let out a breath together, like the whole town had been holding it. Big Tom grinned wide, and Eliza Turner stepped down at last, not just onto the platform, but into the beginning of everything. Smoke curled black against the evening sky, and Jonas heard the scream before he saw the flames. He dropped the fence post he was carrying and ran, boots tearing across the dry summer grass, toward the schoolhouse he had built with his own 2 hands. Fire licked up one wooden wall, fast and hungry, the way dry timber always burned in a Wyoming summer. "Eliza's in there," someone shouted, grabbing papers she never left after the children went home. Jonas did not slow down. He did not call for buckets. He did not wait for Big Tom, already running from the blacksmith shop, or for the other men pouring out of the saloon at the sound of the alarm bell. He went straight through the front door, into the smoke. The crowd gathering outside stood frozen, coughing against the smoke drifting into the street, watching the open doorway and seeing nothing but gray, choking darkness. "He's been in there too long," a woman cried, pressing a hand to her mouth. Big Tom grabbed a wet blanket from a nearby trough, ready to go in after his friend, when a shape stumbled out through the smoke. Jonas emerged coughing hard, black soot streaked across his face, Eliza cradled against his chest, her arm wrapped tight around his neck. He carried her clear across the street before his knees finally buckled, and he set her down gently in the dirt, checking her face, her hands, her breathing, before he even caught his own. "The papers," Eliza gasped between coughs. "I went back for the children's papers, I didn't think." "Don't matter now," Jonas said hoarsely, pulling her close. "You matter. Nothing else in that building was worth losing you over." The schoolhouse burned to the ground before the bucket line could save it. But nobody in Willow Bend spoke of the loss the next morning. They spoke instead of the rancher who had once been too shy to speak a single word on a stagecoach platform, and who had run straight into fire without a moment's hesitation for the woman he loved. By autumn, a new schoolhouse stood in its place, built plank by half the town, each family adding what they could, because a home built on honest hearts, folks said, was always worth rebuilding.